There you are. Wondering what's going on, eh? One question first. Are you feeling anything that can be construed as explosive cell death? No? Wonderful. Let's get started.
With the next big thing from Obsidian set to release sometime later this year, and Game Informer taking a deep dive into the Outer Worlds in their latest issue, there's a ton of information coming out of the studio in regards to their upcoming title. We've got information on some of the Squadmates we'll be exploring the Halcyon System alongside, as well as some info on locations to visit in our travels of this brand new world. We're also going to look at some of the weaponry available to the player in the campaign, so let's jump right into some new information revealed about Obsidian's The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds takes place in the Halcyon System, a star system far out from the reaches of Earth, controlled by 10 megacorporations who have sought to turn a profit from every colonist making this system home. It appears that the main hub of exploration and story will be a planet called Terra 2, which includes the cities of Edgewater, Roseway, and the corporate centre Byzantium. We've seen Edgewater heavily in the trailer so far, but I don't think we've been privy to the other locations as yet. In orbit near Terra 2 is a moon called Monarch. Terraforming on Monarch didn't go to plan, and because of this, many creatures, both flora and fauna, have grown oversized in adaptation to the attempted terraforming. It sounds like this will be an area worth exploring for those who want to take down some massive space creatures. In between Terra 2 and the system's star is the Groundbreaker. This is originally the ship which brought the colonists to the system, now repurposed as a space station. It is apparently a hub for trade and communication across the system, so we'll see if this area acts as a market of sorts to gear up and take quests throughout the game. The Game Informer article also gives us tidbits of information about some other smaller locations, some which potentially can't be explored. These include the maximum security prison of Tartarus, Scylla, an asteroid housing scientific labs and transmission stations, the inhospitable ice planet of Typhon, the gas giant Eridanos, and the uninhabitable but mineral-rich Hephaestus. My theory is we'll have to infiltrate or escape the prison, and we'll hopefully venture to Scylla in one of the missions as well. Perhaps one of the science weapons will be available there. More on that topic later. The Outer Worlds is set to give RPG audiences exactly what they crave. With a ton of decision making, player agency, and a deep level of skill and perk customization, the co-directors Tim Cain and Leonard Boyarsky are known for. But it's not just the player character that will be under the spotlight in the Outer Worlds. Obsidian are giving the player the opportunity to explore the Halcyon system alongside some pretty interesting squadmates, which sounds like something along the lines of Mass Effect or even Star Wars The Old Republic, and that is music to my ears. So far we know about 3 of the potential squadmates in the Outer Worlds. In the first trailer, we were introduced to Ellie, a mercenary type or gun for hire, who has a sordid past and seems like a light-hearted character to have along for the ride. As well as Ellie, we've had a look at Felix, who, to quote Game Informer's article, is a rebel without a cause or clue, and wants to fight against the corporations who control every aspect of life in the Halcyon system. It seems that Felix is tired of living a life he never chose, and wants to fight back against the bureaucracy of the major corporations. We've also seen a snippet of gameplay of another squadmate, Parvati, who wields a massive hammer as her unique weapon and is apparently a mechanic from the settlement of Edgewater on Terra 2. Another character we'll converse with is our ship. There is a computer that controls the flight of the ships and its systems, and Boyarsky states that it denies that it's sentient, which kind of fits to the wacky and quirky theme of the game. As you progress through the missions of the Outer Worlds, the ship's interior will change over time, as well as your companions' rooms. Co-director Tim Cain states that in terms of size it reminds him of Serenity, and gives me vibes of a much less pristine and futuristic Normandy from Mass Effect. I'm pretty excited to hear more about potential squadmates, but it may have to wait until the game is either closer to release, or even once we get to explore the Outer Worlds, once it's out for the public. But by the sounds of it, there's more to find out regarding your team in the Outer Worlds. The developers have stated there will be a unique aspect to leveling your character throughout the game, giving you leader abilities which will augment the powers of your teammates when in combat or conversations. Even though the Outer Worlds is labelling itself as an RPG first, and for obvious reasons, the combat will definitely be something most players will want to take part in. Although, Cain and Boyarsky have stated that there will be many options to either talk your way out of combat engagements or sneak your way through and miss fights altogether. Some players are going to want to just run in guns blazing, and it looks like there will be quite the selection of weaponry to choose from. Weapon classes include handguns, long guns, heavy ranged weapons, think grenade or rocket launchers and hopefully railguns, melee weapons both light and heavy, and a very exciting and unique type of weaponry, science weapons. Science weapons will be one-of-a-kind arms, apparently one per weapon class, and will give a whole new take on the rules that govern physics in the Outer Worlds. So far, the developers have shown only one of these weapons, the Shrink Ray, which harkens back to the visual style of something like the Jetsons or Marvin the Martian. The Shrink Ray will, as expected, shrink your enemies, and the effect of the weapon will be increased by the science skill possessed by your player character. This is super exciting, and I think it's a really cool thing for the developers to add a unique set of armaments like this to experiment with. Other than the Shrink Ray, we've not seen what these other science weapons can do, but we know the name of one other, the Ugly Stick. It's going to be a blast to see what other crazy weaponry there is hiding in Halcyon for players to discover. But it's not even just the weapon classes that will change the way you play. Each weapon has a brand name, and similarly to the Borderlands series, each of these brands will bring particular strengths and weaknesses, and further increase the level of decision making possible for players. But Obsidian are taking this one step further, it seems. For instance, one brand, Spacer's Choice, is cheap to buy but prone to breaking and low quality. Another, Hammersmith, is designed for those who want to deeply customize and modify their weaponry, and TNL weapons are more expensive but of much higher quality. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on all announcements for Obsidian, and hoping for news and updates and hopefully another trailer sometime soon, perhaps E3 or sooner. And I'll have my fingers crossed for an announcement of a release date. I assume it will probably release in the spring or fall in the US, which is when most big titles release, but you never know, we can hope we get this earlier. So, as I've been making this video, some extra information has come out thanks to an in-depth interview with Cain and Boyarsky, courtesy of the Game Informer show. If you haven't watched it or subscribed to these guys, I highly recommend it, and I've linked the video in the description below. The co-directors were super candid about lots of information in this video, and one interesting thing that I'll note is that Squadmates can be equipped with different weapons and armour, so you can kick them out exactly how you want them to be in the field. However, they will still have access to their special or unique weapon like Parvati's giant hammer, as this will be their special attack of sorts. Also, weapons cannot be crafted per se, however modifications will be possible, and some specialised weapons will have augmented benefits that will give the weapons extra functionality. And even these weapons will be able to be modded by players to increase their effectiveness and to be continually used over time. Some of the RPG elements like dialogue checks and conversations will depend not only on your actual dialogue skill, but can also depend on other skills like engineering or medical proficiency. This is similar to Obsidian's other title, Pillars of Eternity, and a very cool aspect of leveling your character, as it brings extra dialogue options if you decided to level up certain skills. One last thing I think was interesting about the interview with Cain and Boyarsky is the fact that on the highest difficulty, called Supernova, there will be survival elements to navigate, including hunger, thirst, and exhaustion. This gives players the immersion factor of survival games and brings an extra level of depth to the way you approach the Outer Worlds. Very cool for those hardcore RPG players who want the most difficult experience. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for the Outer Worlds. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to stay updated with everything Direckt Gaming. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Direckt Gaming to see what I'm planning and what I'm playing. Right now I'm still really enjoying Anthem, and once I'm finished I'll be dropping a review, so stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, peace.